I didn't expect to feel the walls bend before I arrived. One moment, I was moving through shadows that belonged to my world. The next, I was standing in a space that shouldn't exist. The air hummed with a resonance I couldn't name, vibrating against my skin and through my teeth. Everything was immense: the walls, the light, the silence, and yet it was fragile, like glass held together by devotion alone. My eyes adjusted to the color, or perhaps the absence of it, and I understood immediately why the inhabitants were unprepared. Their reality had rules, rigid ones, and I had arrived without asking permission. Figures appeared almost instantly. Guardians immense and armored, moving as though every step had been preordained. Their weapons caught the light and pointed directly at me before I could even consider the intent behind them. I didn't flinch. I floated. I had no reason to move as they did. Their urgency pressed into me, but it was a pressure of expectation, not of force. "Identify yourself," one said. His voice echoed in the chamber as if the walls themselves amplified his demand. I inclined my head slightly. "I am called Blade," I said. My voice carried nothing but observation. No apology, no defiance. "I do not seek your war." They did not lower their weapons. They could not yet reconcile the anomaly in front of them with the world they knew. I measured the constructs around me. Walls of golden alloy engraved with symbols that trace the rise and fall of civilizations. Machines, vast and intricate, hummed in synchronous rhythm, feeding a system I could see but not yet fully understand. Psychic wards vibrated faintly in response to my presence, as if sensing the potential for a shift they had never encountered. Everything was rigid. Everything was devoted. Everything was built to last. And yet, every inch screamed decay beneath the surface. Every spark of light a reminder that entropy could never be denied. "Do you understand the consequences of your arrival?" The custodian asked again. He thought the question would intimidate, that he could force compliance through words. I considered it briefly. Consequences were probabilities, not threats. "I understand more than you perceive," I said, and there was no arrogance in its only calculation. Their faces, hidden behind gilded masks, betrayed the smallest flicker of doubt. I noted it, and I filed it away as a variable. The hum around me shifted, subtle but unmistakable. It was not the sound of machinery, but of attention itself, drawn toward me. Something in the distance pulsed, observing, and I felt its gaze, not like eyes, but like a weight pressing through dimensions. My curiosity flared not fear, not malice, but the sharp, cold clarity of knowing this was bigger than anything I had faced. The universe around me was alive in a way my world had never been, layered in power, devotion, and danger. I did not move. I did not blink. I only watched and waited, noting the inconsistencies, the strength, and the fragility. Here, in this impossible palace, I realized that I was not the strongest being present, but I was the one who changed the rules simply by existing. This universe was not just strange, it was dangerous. And I had arrived in the very heart of it. The corridors stretched endlessly, yet I moved without fatigue. Each step, or rather, the act of simply existing in this space reeled layers I could measure, analyze, and catalog. The walls were alive with devotion. Servitors moved in precise routines, their voices chanting in unison, translating thought into action. The hum of psychic machinery pulsed like a heartbeat, faint yet insistent. Every device, every conduit, every crystal seemed to channel energy toward a single point I could sense but could not yet fully access. I watched without interrupting, but my presence was not without effect. Slight deviations flickered across their instruments. Machines shivered. Belief faltered in Mizcron seas. A figure approached, half machine, half flesh, draped in robes lined with circuitry. Its voice was a mixture of static and melody, ritualized syllables that had meaning beyond language. "You perceive what you should not," it said. I replied simply, "I perceive what is. I do not judge your methods." Its mechanical appendages twitched, registering something in my words. Others around it whispered, eyes hidden behind golden masks. Projecting fear and reverence simultaneously, I observed the fragments of a mind greater than any I had encountered. Scattered, yet coherent. Not a singular consciousness, but a network intertwined with billions of others. Each human here fed it unknowingly, their faith converted into a tangible force. I could feel its weight pressing outward, fragile and immense all at once. They believed they preserved a god. I understood they preserved a system. There was no difference in principle-only scale and obedience. One of the tech priests leaned forward, a gleam of curiosity breaking through the programmed discipline. "You speak of inefficiency as though it is flaw, yet it sustains our master." I inclined my head. "I observe what exists. Rituals preserve the structure, yes, but not without cost. Death, energy, entropy all accumulate unnoticed. Your preservation is not eternal, only delayed." The priest recoiled subtly, as though I had struck with words rather than a weapon. Others whispered behind him, the ritual breaking in tiny cracks of uncertainty. Something else stirred at the edges of perception. Not human, not machine, not energy I could name. Observers from beyond, entities who should not see this space, sensed me and shifted their attention like predators adjusting to an anomaly. I did not fear them. I measured them. Their focus was selective, hungry, but limited by distance and dimensional boundaries. They had noticed my arrival. They understood it might matter. I reached for the edge of one psychic conduit, letting my consciousness align with its flow without touching, without disrupting. Threads of thought appeared, fragments of history, decision, rebellion, triumph, sacrifice. I noted the scale and the cost. Humanity itself had become both sustainer and sacrifice, a paradox. Knowledge, I realized, could be more dangerous here than fire or steel. To understand was to alter the equation. To question was to disturb centuries of carefully maintained order. I remained still, calculating, watching, listening. My presence alone had begun to stretch the rules they had depended upon for millennia. This was not a battlefield, yet stakes rose like a tide. I was not yet a participant, only an observer, but knowledge carried weight. And the more I understood, the corridors stretched ahead, endless and humming with a rhythm I could feel more than see. Energy flowed through conduits like blood through veins, but it wasn't steady. Pulses lagged in places, flickering and sputtering. The system was straining. I traced the flow with my awareness, watching particles hesitate, machines hesitate, reality hesitate. The Emperor's presence was a beacon, fractured but vast, tugging at everything connected to him. It was remarkable and fragile. Reports came quickly from the custodians at my side, clipped and urgent. Something was moving beyond the walls. Names, numbers, titles that meant nothing to me, but their weight pressed into the air. Traitor Primarchs. Fleets converging. Energies I had only seen once in another universe. The chaos they carried was not random. It was focused, calculated, accelerated by my presence. They had sensed the shift, understood it might tip the scales. I noted their probability vectors, how they coordinated across vast distances. Predictable in method, chaotic in outcome. A custodian spoke, armor creaking with the weight of centuries. The throne is beyond reach unless we control every variable. I didn't reply immediately. Control was an illusion here. I could measure, calculate, and act, but the currents of faith, sacrifice, and entropy flowed faster than even they realized. Access is necessary, I said finally. Anything else is preparation for failure. My voice carried only observation. No threat, no promise. That seemed enough. I let my perception reach out, tracing the links that bound machinery, psychic energy, and human devotion. Each conduit, each crystal, each flicker of golden light was part of a system balancing on a knife's edge. I could feel the Emperor himself stretching thin, his consciousness splintered and tethered in multiple forms: flesh, energy, and the collective human psyche. The strain was evident in every pulse, every shiver in the air. It was mathematics expressed as power, a problem waiting for a solution. The hum grew louder, shifting, and I recognized it as more than machinery. The universe itself seemed aware, responding to the incoming chaos. Outside, unimaginable forces collided, while inside, the smallest error could cascade into catastrophe. I calculated outcomes, weighing the costs of action versus inaction. To intervene might save billions, yet destabilize the cosmic equilibrium. Observation alone might preserve knowledge, but at what cost to lives unseen? I reached the final threshold. Golden light pressed against my perception, energy fields rippling with authority. Even the custodians at my side stiffened. The Eternity Gate waited ahead, a boundary between control and chaos, between life and the form of a god reduced to fragments. I sensed the currents of power beyond it: the Emperor, the machinery, the sacrifice of a species compressed into psychic resonance. And I understood fully that the next steps I took would ripple outward, reshaping calculations across the galaxy and beyond. I reached the center, and I feel it immediately: the weight of everything bound together and held in place by faith, energy, and centuries of sacrifice. The Emperor is not one being, but three: flesh, energy, and consciousness stretched across 1,000 minds.